Coaches, welcome to DSS Locker Room Podcast. We're back with a wee bit of a club roundup, provincial club roundup. We're into the provincial club championships. Doesn't feel that long ago. We were at the county season, Mark. We're back with the club championship with Mark Doran on us today. Mark, you're very welcome. Mark, I suppose starting with Saturday night's game. And I think, Mark, before we start, we both know Jody Gormleys. I know the sad news broke about Jody over the weekend. I think it's worth mentioning how brave he's been, how honourable he's been, and even his interview there with Thomas Niblock the other day was absolutely outstanding. And obviously our thoughts over Jody and the family, Mark. I know you would have played under Jody, Mark. Is that right?
Yeah, Jody actually managed our club for 2 seasons, and then obviously he coached down for 2 seasons under Paddy O'Rourke. And one thing with Jody was super fit always under Paddy O'Rourke, serious, and just the training he would have done was colossal. And Jody would have done the training himself. That made it actually worse. He was actually up at the top of it, and then to be fair, he managed our club for a couple of years. But look, when you see what Jody's gone through, it sort of puts sport and football, everything into perspective. But look, to be fair, he's a serious man, but brave. And just look, as you say, your thoughts go out to Jody and his family. It's a tough time, but look.
Yeah, and the beginning, I think, summed it up nicely at the end of the game the other night. When he talked about perspective, and people getting worked up about football matches and things like that, it does put a huge perspective on it. And obviously our thoughts are with Jody, but going back to
the
game,
Mark, calm down now, see you will.
Going back to the game, Mark, Errigal Ciarans and St Eunan's. I actually thought it was a very enjoyable game. I watched it on Saturday evening. Errigal obviously, are well renowned for having the 2 Canavans, but I thought that a great bench coming off the bench as well. I know the bench had a big impact coming into the game as well. I thought Sean Patton's kickouts for Eunan's was a joy to watch at times. Real joy to watch, and whenever you go man to man against Sean Patton, it is, it's a recipe for disaster at times. But I felt, Mark, I don't know how you felt, but I thought the pattern of the game, I thought Errigal kicked a lot of ways in the first half. I thought the second half, particularly, there was a period of time in the second half, and Conor O'Donnell missed a couple of free kicks around about, I think it was 8-7, 7-6. That would have put Eunan's 2-3 maybe ahead, and it might have been a bigger lead for Errigal to claw back. But Errigal showed great character, Mark, and they've dug in. And I suppose being in that Tyrone Championship and only having an 8-day turnaround, that was a huge win for them, Mark. Huge win.
Yeah, I would say the 8-day turnaround was a big thing. And look, I originally thought the game was in Ballygofane. I thought Errigal would really struggle with them, and I found out it was in Healy Park. To be fair, look, when you look at St Eunan's are a serious team too. I think it was 2 years ago. They gave Glen serious problems down in Donegal. Glenn's got out by the skin of their teeth. And to be fair, when you look at the players and show, but you're right, the first half you thought, first 20 minutes, Errigal missed a lot of scores and you thought they're going to kick on, and then Petey missing the penalty. But to be fair, it was a super save from Patton. But to be fair, once St Eunan's got the turn on them, and midway through, after the penalty miss, Eunan's sort of gradually getting on top. And to be fair, midway through the second half, they were pointing from because just couldn't get 2 and 3, and they had serious chance. I think it was Junior Colin O'Donnell did make a couple of bad frees, missed a couple of rush shots, and I do think had they got the 2 and 3 and 4 up, they might have kicked on. Even the 2 or 3 point, would have been a big score in that game. But to be fair to Errigal, they hung in there, and you can see their last 10 minutes, and you said their bench, Tommy Cadden and that coming off. I think it was Ben McDonald. They did kick the last couple of scores, and I think actually they were 1 down, 1 minute left, and it was some turnaround. But to be fair, look, they'll take serious heart and momentum out of that. And to be fair,
and to be fair to Eunan's, they kept Derek Canavan in particular reasonably quiet.
He never scored from play. But if you look at Eunan's, have a lot of good markers. Like you look between under 21 minor senior, they have a lot of good markers in the defence. And Eunan's, I think, will be kicking themselves. They'll really, because there's no divine right they're going to get back there next year. Donegal's a hard championship, but I think Eunan's will really kick themselves at the opportunities to give away in the last 10 or 15 minutes, and they could have had the game out of sight. But look, to be fair, Errigal showed serious character, and you remarked on it. The Tyrone Championship, that last couple of minutes.
Maybe stood by them.
Yeah, look, to be fair, it did. But you're right, it was a brilliant game of football. But look, they'll take serious momentum, and now they play local derby, Carrigan on Sunday, and look, we all know the story with Enda and the laws and stuff.
Enda's good. He's got a foot in both camps there, doesn't he? But I suppose Enda mentioned a very brief thing just before we talk about something. I want to talk to you about pedigree, but before I talk about that, I thought Shane O'Donnell's performance. It's very unusual that a man of the match in the losing team in a game like that gets gets the man of the match award. Like, I thought Shane O'Donnell was absolutely, he played at 10 for Donegal last year, Mark. Fine footballer. I thought he was brilliant on the night. Really, really brilliant. Very direct, powerful running, going at them. Really, really impressively. Really impressive.
Yeah, it's like, but sure, if you're a defender, the one thing you hate is a man going at you with pace.
Yeah.
Like, it's a one, and that's probably got away from that.
Pace and power.
Yep, wee bit away from our game, maybe where and sometimes maybe teams are overcoached. Stay out of contact, stay out of this and this. To be fair, every time he get the ball, he just went at Errigal and he just caused mayhem. Like, and it's the one thing, as you're a defender, you hate somebody coming at you with that pace and power. And he was outstanding, and look, it was just a pity he was an illusion team. But again, if you look at Ben McDonald, stood up in the last, kicked 3 points.
He did. He was excellent, Mark. He was excellent.
Yeah, and Cormac Quinn had a good game. And even McCrory, when they just both teams, when Niall O'Donnell came on, Aidan McCrory just stuck to him like glue. No, Niall kicked the point, and it was probably a big blow for our St. Eunan's, him not starting. But when he came on, Aidan McCrory just went. But I thought it was a really, really good game.
Yeah, it was a good game. And it sort of begs then the question, does the new rules, I know the new rules, we're not going to talk about the new rules in great depth today, but it sort of begs the question then that there is a lot of good games out there, Mark. There is a lot of good games out there, and you're just fearful that when the rules come into club level, how hard it would be. I was even thinking yesterday, looking at club pitches, will the arc will it be identifiable? One referee on a Friday night in a league game, Mark. It's a lot of consideration for these rules to come into club football,
Yeah, it is. Look, it's all right. Yourself, we're talking about the county football different when you've loads of people there to police it, but a club football, it is going to cause confusion. Club referees are going to rely a lot on management and coaches too, just that maybe the way they're coaching the setup. But I think it's a referee's job now. I think it's actually nearly at club football,
nearly impossible,
especially a club league game. Different club championship, you'll have your umpires, your linesmen, but club league games, it's going to be nearly impossible.
Yeah. There was an interesting tactical sort of, bit of a tactical analysis. I think it was Ryan McHugh, I think maybe Arnell Morgan mentioned it. Towards the end of the game, Errigal obviously drifted the two Calamans over to one side of the field, and it nearly attracted quite a bit of the Union's attention. And as a result of that, Errigal actually got 2 scores from just a quick switch of play. Peter Hart obviously was instrumental in that play with the outside of the foot, beautiful kick pass. But it was it just shows you the fear factor of the two Calamans when you've got them two up front, Mark. It's a serious threat. And if Errigal can get through the next round, they'll be there or thereabouts. They will be there or thereabouts.
Yeah, if Errigal can get over Carrigan, I would give Carrigan a big chance, but down in Corrigan Park, Carrigan again weren't that far away. They run Glen close last year in Celtic Park. They've been there, and if you look at the Carrigan team, all right, you have ex-county men, still men that's playing county, McCann's, Kevin O'Boyle, and they have a serious lot of crap coming through. So look, I think Carrigan will fancy their chances of an upset. But look, as you said, if Errigal get over that, it'd be massive. But I think it was funny enough. I remember talking to Gab McGilly about this a few weeks ago. He says just one thing you remarked on, Errigal do overload one side with the Calavans, and then it's a switch plan. Look, to be fair, the man that switched the play was Petey Hart. It's all right being able to switch, saying, "Oh, we're going to overload one side," but you need that football IQ, the man on the ball, the right man on the ball was Petey Hart, and it was it's all right saying we'll overload one side and we'll switch, but it needs to be the pass, it needs to be right, plus the man on the ball needs to know exactly what it was doing, but it was well worked, so it was. And you said, if you had the two Callum and Petey Hart in the 1-4 thing.
Yeah, and Thomas Callum had a great impact as well, great game as well. But when you look at it, Mark, for me, you're talking about pedigree, and you're talking about Corrigan were close last year, and they've good pedigree, and they've been there. And then again, he touched on it. He says one of the reasons why Tyrone clubs probably don't do that well in Ulster is he says you nearly need a couple of campaigns in Ulster, to get really look at Kilcoo, for example. It took them a long time before they actually got, to winning an Ulster title. They had to lose a final, they had to lose a couple of semi-finals, they had to lose a quarter-final. And it does take that, it does take that. And I suppose when you're not coming out of your championship every year, that's the interview, I think, was with, who was the interview at the end of the game? It was maybe Andy. He's there's no guarantee. He says, we'll come out of the Tyrone Championship next year, and because the likelihood is they'll not, because there's been no back-to-back winner in over 20 years. So it does take that bit of pedigree. But Errigal's experience from 2 years ago, having played Glen and Celtic Park, they were very close, Mark. They were very close to Glen. And
look, there's not a big big experience, and that's why I think St. Eunan's will be kicking themselves, because all right, St. Eunan's are thereabouts at Donegal, but then Swilly will probably come back tougher, bigger and stronger next week. I think St. Eunan's will kick themselves when that last 10 or 12 minutes, the chances to be 2 and 3 further in front, because there's no guarantee they're going to get back there. But that is a good point. Look, it's hard to beat experience in Errigal. Even though Errigal are beating the final last year, it's their own. There's 2 years actually to play in Ulster. And if you do look at the teams in Ulster, Scottstown, serious experience built up
Yeah.
now. To be fair, Kilcoo, serious experience built up in there. So look, and they're the two teams a lot of teams will look at and go, well, it's that experience adds 3 or 4 points to both of them teams right away.
Well, it'll be interesting, Nick. So just to stay in the Ulster Club Championship, obviously next weekend's a big weekend in the Ulster Club Championship. You were involved in Derry the football this year, Mark. Obviously Newbridge, the surprise of the championship, I suppose. I think after the semi-final and how public an outcry there was after how poor the semi-final was, like Gary Hetherington and Kevin Brady don't really care, like they don't care because they're sitting now county champions and they don't care how they got over the line or why they got over the line. But the final was enthralling. The Derry
Yeah, the
final was
final
enthralling.
actually was a brilliant game. And to be
Yeah,
fair, look, best team won.
yeah,
Newbridge won, and that was it. The one thing, like, Newbridge, very, very young. Everybody knows, obviously, CD, and but like
yeah,
a lot of young players, Colin McAteer, Oisin Doherty, boys who have no fear,
mm,
absolutely no fear. And that's the one thing from sitting in Silly Park today. They had absolutely no fear of Glen.
mm,
Now, I do think maybe there was a wee bit of complacency maybe creeped into Glen, but still, Newbridge were by far the better team and probably should have been more at that front at half time. And look, again, now, and the one thing about Newbridge is they're going to be there or thereabouts.
yeah,
And I seen them in a group game again, Maherfield in the one big in the Derry Club Chat, and I thought they were exceptional. They won the game easy. It's just look, they attack with 15 men. Their goalkeeper, yes, a
yeah,
goal, but when they had the ball, and I'll just wait to see what way they approach.
mm.
So, Clan
Clanern,
Earn and the head fully focused, because it's that
yeah,
thing is experience. Clan Earn have it a go in Ulster 2 years ago.
yeah,
All right, didn't
yeah,
and they will look to probably make an impact. Newbridge, yes, new in Ulster, but look, there's one thing about Newbridge that it's just their youth, and it's hard to beat that youth. They just
yeah.
fear nobody and just go for it. Like, they got a lot of criticism after the Maherfield semi-final, but I had seen them a lot in the Derry Championship. They play brilliant football. There's one
Mm.
thing about them. And people, yes, wasn't a great game that day. They played Maherfield, but also I don't think people were allowing the conditions. And conditions that night in Owenbeg were
Yeah,
seriously tough
yeah,
win. But
yeah.
like most times you watch Newbridge and the one, they play really, really good football. And again, it's that thing we talk about, pace. They have serious pace all over the pitch.
Well, I would say both teams are probably happy with the draw. I'd say Clanern are happy that Glen are out, and Clanern will look at Newbridge and think, we can get at them. And Newbridge will look at Clanern and think, yeah, we can get at them. Clanern, I suppose, Mark, we played them a couple of times this year in challenge matches. Like, obviously, Barry McCambridge, huge player for them. They've an outfield player in goals as well. He comes out the field, creates a +1. They're very athletic. They're very youthful. They have TK in there as well, Tiernan Kelly. They have, obviously, Turbo, 8 points in the county final, well documented. They have athleticism, they have pace, and I'll tell you what they'll have. There's a bit of momentum in Armagh at the minute now. The whole thing of winning the All Ireland, the All Stars is a feel good thing. Those boys are feeling invincible at the minute. Everything they touch is turning to goal, and that obviously helps a camp, Mark. Like when you've got McCambridge, Barry, when you've got Barry and Tiernan and Turbo coming into that setup, like it's bound to give those players around them a lift, isn't it? Like it's bound to give
Oh,
them
it
a
is bound. Look, and people have been talking up Clan Earn this last few years. Like the talent have coming through from Armagh Minors under 21s. Then
right. Yeah,
there's 5 of them in the senior squad. And before they probably felt like they probably left it behind last year. I know they were leading Gael in the semi final by 5 or 6 points, and then switched off. Gael end up nipping them and then cross beat them in the final. So I know they were probably hurting last year, and that's why I think, look, they won their Armagh Championship 2 years ago. Lord maybe mucked up a wee bit last year, and I think they will set their sights firmly in Ulster. And you look the caliber players, and you see them county men coming in, momentum behind them and everything. And I think, look, it'll be a cracking game in Sedley Park, because both teams like to go and play football, and I
yeah.
think it'll be the game of the weekend.
Yeah, and there's a couple of great games on next week, Mark. Obviously, I'm just looking down the list of games here. Obviously, you have Cora Finn and Podrick Pierce is coming up as well. Nace and Kula's on next. We'll look at Leinster in a second. If we just go to Cora Finn and Podrick Pierce, like obviously, I know you're down in Roscommon this year, like, and the Dailies obviously would be big players for Pierce's. You have Davy Murray there as well. Like Cora Finn, it's just wild and experience, wily old foxes. Like even like Gary Say still floating about Cora Finn. That would be a great game. That would be a great game. Like it really
Yeah,
will.
you don't want to do, like, you could be, suppose you could be ignorant here and say it's probably the final in the Mayo Champions Night sitting, but a worst. But look, it probably is, without it, like it is a serious. Like on Sunday, I think it's live in Tina G. It's in Tuam, isn't it? I think so.
I think so. Yeah,
Yes,
think
Yeah,
so.
but you mentioned Gary Spicer, like a 44, like
Yeah,
what a role model for any
yeah,
youngster, anybody. Like
yeah.
people saying 32, 33, oh, there's people
You're
now, like
finished.
you know yourself, there's people mad keen to retire people for some reason all of a
Yeah,
sudden.
yeah, yeah,
And I even know from me don't pay opposite Neil, like people say that Patsy Bradley, 39. I remember from Ballybay, Paul Finlay, still playing, I think, in the league final yesterday for Ballybay. These boys at 40. But it's just like they're such great role models for young people coming through. And like, yeah, I watched the game last
totally
Sunday, it
agree.
was played in awful conditions, Cora Finlay, and I thought
Mm.
Gary Space was like the goal he took, the chance he took, and a man at 44 still doing it. And like
Yeah,
it just shows you, but that's it's a massive game of Connacht because whoever wins that, not I know you're looking ahead, but whoever comes out of that, you're firmly fixed. Yes, win your Connacht title, but your eyes are firmly fixed on All Ireland. And like when
mm.
you look at Glen and Kilmacud going, there is like it's
Yeah,
just opened everything up for everybody.
yeah,
And no doubt the winners of Pearses and Cora Finn will be sitting thinking there's an All Ireland here. No doubt the likes of Kilcoo and Scottstown are sitting thinking the same. There's so many teams now in that provincial championships are sitting thinking there's an All Ireland here, even though
Well,
you
look, it's
don't want
much
to look
more
ahead.
from a county and club perspective, Mark. Like, there's a much greater sort of equal playing field at club level because there's so many. Like, it's very hard to call the All Ireland winners here right now because next weekend we could be sitting going, Jesus, I didn't see them losing or I didn't see them getting beat. Like, we'll go into Leinster, for example, here, right? A couple of results yesterday. St. Lomans Mullingar, fine side, 217 to 2-4 again in shock. And that's a major win for the Westmeath champions against the Meath champions. Then you've Ardee. We'll chat about them in a second. But Tinhealy, there, Mark, from Wicklow, you're obviously in Wicklow with Oisin for a few years. Like, that was a massive win for them, 11-10 against Port Arlington, who, again, Port Arlington are another team who'd be looking, thinking, yeah, we can get the Crow Park, we can get the Leinster semi-final, Leinster final, and that's a huge win for them. Huge.
Oh, massive. Now, I do believe Port Arlington, I know the three boys went to Australia last year, came home and played in the championship this year. I think the three of them went back again, so that was a big,
Right,
but
okay.
take nothing away from Tinney. And like Owen Darcy, I see Owen would be a top, or Owen would be a top forward in Wicklow. I think he scored 1-1, and it looked for Wicklow, it was massive. And now I think they have a home game again, Tullamore and Athley, or it's the Athley champions.
I
So
think
look,
so.
that was the result. I just remember flicking through social media, looking at the result, and that's the one result you went, Jesus, that's a big,
Yeah,
big, massive result. And
yeah.
especially it was down in Portlaoise, but I was delighted for like Owen Darcy because Owen Darcy would be he'd be a marquee forward in Wicklow, and even he just could probably plays lower down in Wicklow, wouldn't be as well known, but he is a serious player.
Well, I think the fact that Kilmacud were beaten last weekend by Coola, obviously, and I know Coola playing Naas this Saturday, and a lot of people are sort of saying to me, I was talking to a couple of people in Leinster, sort of saying to me, oh, that's the final, Coola and Naas. But I think Ardee St. Mary's are going to have a big say in the Leinster Club Championship, and I tell you why, Mark. They have a serious forward line. Like, you talk about older players, Johnny Cummins, 38, 39, brilliant footballer, but you've Kiki Keenan there at 11, very hard to handle. They're a very difficult team, Mark, to match up on. They're the two Jacksons,
Yeah.
Tom Jackson, Liam Jackson.
They
Middle
were
of the
getting their
street.
I think it was a draw at half time, wasn't it,
I'm going to tell you
yesterday?
about this, though, Mark. Right, they've drawn at half time, but you've Donald McKenny there as well, All-Star nomination this year from Louth. They have a very, very youthful team as well. Some brilliant young footballers coming through. They play a nice brand of football. I tell you what they have, Mark, and it's interesting. I seen the result at half, or the score at half time, and I thought, right, let's see the third quarter surge. They have this third quarter surge, and they've done it in the club championship every single game. They've done it against us in the league final. We were leading 9-7 in the league final just after half time, and they kicked 7 points in a row and turned the game on its head. And they do it in every game, and it's a real trait. And you know what it is, Mark, as well? They're bringing nearly county standard players off the bench, and that's some advantage, Mark. That is some advantage. Like,
Yeah, I remember watching them last year down in Ardee again, Kilmacud.
yeah,
And for 25 minutes, I think the first 25 minutes, they give Kilmacud far too much respect and stood off
yeah,
them.
yeah,
Then at half time, they got them in. And to be fair, they left it behind them. Like they had
yeah,
Kilmacud on the
yeah,
ropes and
yeah.
just weren't fit to beat them. And I do think that first 20, 25 minutes ruined them. But you also, man, I still would like St. Lomans. And you look at the caliber players they have, John
Yeah,
Heslop, the two McCartans, Dan, Ryan O'Toole, like they have a serious. And a couple of years ago, Kilmacud beat them in a
well,
Leinster final. Like, but it look, and you said it's the best it's a competition. I love that. This love provincials is just because, as you say, you couldn't
yeah.
call it.
Ardee play. I'm just looking at the fixtures here now. Ardee play obviously Naas and Coola. Ardee play at home to Rathvilly, the Carlow champions, and they'll have too much pace for them. They'll have too much
Yeah,
pace for them. As you said, Tinhealy and in Wicklow have a game against Tullamore. That's winnable for them, Mark. Certainly winnable for them. Naas and Coola Saturday night's an interesting one. It is an interesting game.
yeah. Naas have been thereabouts. I think Naas won now 3 Kildares in a row. to be fair, Culla was a big. When you look at the caliber players Culla had, but obviously when their Dublin title was that, is Culla now is a Dublin title, or did they really put their heads down now and
Yeah,
focus at pushing on? Because look,
yeah.
if they do, they're capable of doing a lot of stuff. But that's a big game too, like
Massive,
Naas and
massive.
Culla.
Massive game, Mark. Massive game, and again, as you say, it shows you how open the club championship is. It really does. Like just at the weekend, their Sligo Championship, Stranhill had a win in the Sligo Club Championship, so they'll be heading into the Connacht Championship down in Munster. Mark, who's the fancy in Munster?
You look, everybody's going to say that the Kerry and that and Castlehaven's their game, but then you see Errigal and Clare. Like 2 years ago, Errigal had Dr. Crokes in the ropes, and just again, I don't think, but I think belief was a bit thing missing. I know last year Cracklow, Colin Constance Cracklow nipped them, but they're back
Yeah,
again. They won the final last week, handing up. And again, it's when you look at their team, like Kieran Russell, Gavin Cooney, the Manus Boyle, Ronan, they're probably 8 or 9 county players.
mm,
And even though Kieran Russell and that doesn't play, Big Darren O'Neill retired there, but like on paper, Errigal have serious bench. Obviously, people's going to look at Dr. Crokes and Castlehaven, but I just, even last year, you think Cracklow, Castlehaven, it took Castlehaven extra time to beat
yeah,
Cracklow and Clare. And I do
yeah,
believe Errigal, and I know their manager well, Paul Madden, who's done serious work. They do have serious pedigree now. Where the problem is narrow, where belief, but I know 2 years ago they should have beat Dr. Crokes. And again, it's that thing they were thinking we should have beat Dr. Crokes, but last year they didn't get out of Clare because they were probably looking ahead. This year they're back, and it's just on paper like this. I'm just thinking Ronan Lanigan, Manus Doyle, Manus Doherty, Darren O'Neill, Kieran Russell, Gavin Cooney, Ickham, like
mm.
they've 8 or 9 Clare County senior footballers.
Huge advantage for any club.
Massive. So
Yeah,
like, I wouldn't rule them out, but obviously everybody's going to look at Castlehaven and Dr. Croke. Yes, it's the superpowers, and even Limerick Ardee Alden won the Limerick one again. So look, but you was still, I still would give Arrow a big chance.
yeah, big chance. I think before we just look quickly ahead of next week, I think it's worth mentioning. You'll smile at this one there. I'm looking at one of the standout results of the weekend in the Leinster Junior Club Championship. Connacht's Shamrocks 1-5, Barcelona Gaels 3-11. So Barcelona Gaels in the Leinster Junior Club Championship, a massive achievement for them to get a win. But Mark, you know what? And we talked at the start of the show, obviously, about Jody and what he's gone through. Like, but the power of the GAA, like the GAA is such a powerful association. Like, and there's Barcelona Gaels. Like, obviously, your own brother, I think, is he in Edinburgh? You're a fan in Edinburgh? Is
Yeah,
Edinburgh
he was
or
in
Scotland?
Edinburgh, I
You know,
think.
and
Look, in
it's
Edinburgh.
GAA home from home, isn't it? Like, you wherever you go, you nearly just like a magnet. You nearly gravitate towards the GAA, isn't it? Like, and I think that's a wonderful story there, like brilliant story. Like,
Yeah, and even though I spent the summer in Australia and I spent a couple of summers in America, and it was just Gaelic. That was it. Minute it was just football. Like your
yeah,
GAA people sometimes outside the GAA probably
oh,
bubble and circle don't realise the power of it.
yeah,
And it's
don't
only
even,
when you see, and look, I hate when you see the Jody Gormley story and you see the way the whole GAA has just
yeah.
circled around him. And look, it's brilliant to see.
Fantastic to see. Fantastic to see. Just quickly, Mark, just looking at a couple of the games in the Ulster Club next week. So obviously we've talked about Corrigan and Errigal. Just call that quickly then. Corrigan, Errigal, how do you see that going?
I think I'd be I just would give a nod to Errigal just in the fact that
Yeah,
Darrell Canavan was poor. The two they
yeah.
didn't play well. The two Canavans were kept on the wrap. But just a hesitant vote to Errigal, just as in Carrigan, but a hesitant vote to Errigal.
Massive win for Aaron Gales at the weekend. Massive win, but their reward now is to face a very powerful, strong Scottstown team, and I can't see anything but a Scottstown win there.
No, that's in Bristol. Probably, like, I think it's their first time in 44 years. Was it Declan Bonner won a title? It was a
Yeah,
big win for them. And the
that's right.
fact they won on Saturday night in 8 days, in 8 days' time, they've got to go and play
So,
Scottstown. I mean,
you,
Scottstown, who probably
if you win on a
were
Saturday
unlucky
night, if
last
you
year
win on a
again
Saturday
playing an
night,
Ulster final.
hey, if you win on a Saturday night, it's a Saturday, a Sunday club, and a Monday club, I would say,
Yeah.
So, and in fact, the three. And Mark, it does, like, all joking aside, I think it's important as well, like, for clubs like that, they have to celebrate a championship. There has to be a 2-3 day hair down period where you're saying, you know what, we're going to celebrate this, we're going to enjoy it. And it does take its toll in the body, let's be honest, doesn't it? Like, it does take
Yeah,
its toll.
no, look, I think the way our calendar's on it is, and look, no, that was no fault of Fermanagh County Board or Tyrone last week, just that storm. The storm came in, then games had to be called off. I know the Fermanagh one was a draw,
Yeah.
but like people, look, our calendar is tight, and I always remember even with Ballybay, I still like Errigal had to play a final, they had to play a preliminary round, and now they're into the first round of Ulster. That's 3 big games in 3 weeks.
Mm.
And I always remember the time involved with Ballybay, us beating Crossmaglen on a Saturday night, and the following Sunday we had to go out and play Kilcoo, and it was
Yeah.
just It's massive. I always like the 2 week gap. The 2 week gap's perfect, but I know the way
Yeah,
the calendar's congested. But that's a bit like it is. And look, I can't see Errigal Ciarans are probably enjoying themselves today, and rightly so. But look, Scottstown won a league yesterday, beat Ballybay in a Monaghan League final, done the double. But I've seen they rotated their squad massively. And look,
right.
you'd say fresh as you'd hope. Errigal Ciarans are bringing a wee bit of momentum. It's in Brewster, but look, Scottstown, you'd fancy them massively for that.
Yeah, and I suppose obviously the last game in Ulster. Then we've talked about Newbridge and Clonard. That'll be a tight game. That will be a close game. It will be a close game. That could go either way. I feel that could go either
Yeah,
way.
well, I think it'll be a brilliant game because both teams like to play football. If I was
Yeah.
giving anyone a hate going again, Newbridge, I just think
Mm,
Clonard, the fact that they're second stint at Ulster, you mentioned like
yeah.
Turbo, Cambridge,
Yeah.
TK, and all that, they have serious. And I do think Clonard will take the momentum of Armagh and will look at going to Celtic Park and will look now with laying out. This is a serious opportunity here for us.
Well, I know Cullyhanna obviously won the All Ireland Intermediate Championship last year, but it has been a long time since an Armagh club team outside of Cross McLean have made an indent on the Ulster Club Championship, isn't it? Really, so
Yeah, and I do think,
this could
look,
be the
I
year.
think Clonard will have their sights firmly fixed on it. And no doubt it was probably a big shot in the arm last week when they found out Newbridge won, beat
Mm.
Lane. But look, Newbridge again, a brilliant football team, but I just think Clonard, this is their second go at Ulster here, and I think they'll really relish it.
Straightforward win for Kilcoo, Mark.
Yeah, I think Kilcoo, look, yeah, I've seen
Mm.
Castle Locker, and to be fair, Ryan Daly and Archie Beattie done a good job there, but look, Kilcoo, or this is what Kilcoo's built for, like, to be fair, they're built now in Ulster, and I would say again, Kilcoo's are firmly fixed on Scottstown. That would be both, if Kilcoo and Scottstown both win,
Yeah,
massive semi-final. But
yeah.
look, Kilcoo, no, make no they're looking at Ulster titles in Ireland, and they do a serious, and
Mm.
I think Kilcoo will win by 5 or 6 points,
I
maybe
was,
more in Uri.
I was saying this. A couple of the boys came down to watch Kilcoo this year in the club championship from another province, and they were in Newry. I was chatting to them, and they just couldn't believe the pace that's in that Kilcoo team, Mark, for a club side. Their pace is at times, like there was a couple of times they broke on the counter attack against Mayo Bridge in the quarterfinal. Like their pace, Mark, is just it's scary at times to watch. Like it really is scary at times to
Oh no,
watch.
their pace is like it's lightning. To be fair, I don't mean to be disrespectful down, but Kilcoo's probably won the down championship, probably still in third or fourth gear. Yes, their
Mm.
pace is massive, but the one thing that really impressed me about Kilcoo is their teamwork. Their teamwork is absolutely their team. It's like certain boys can have a bad game, but they never ever dip.
Never
That
stop
teamwork,
working.
they
Yeah.
work their socks off, and look, that's it's going to take a serious outfit to
Mihal Rooney
beat
is
them.
a prime example of that. Like Mitzi obviously, has got himself in terrific physical condition, and he's one man. If you actually watch him tackling, you'd never see a man put as many tackles in such a short space of time as him. Like he chases, he harasses, he gets into your face, and that nearly it's infectious. Then Mark, it nearly sends an infectious nature through the team of the intensity's there. He's leading, he's charging. He's not on his own, as you say. He's not on his own. Like, but it's that tenacity in their tackle, the way the hunting packs, and then obviously the way the break on the counter attack is huge, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
it's massive. You think even they won the down championship, probably Ryan Johnson didn't play in it, Aaron Brannigan didn't play in it. There's two big players to come back. And look,
mm,
I do think Kilcoo were really like they felt they left behind it last year against Scottstown. I know
yeah.
they've waited maybe 10 or 12 months to get back to this stage. And look, I think they'll have a routine win on Saturday night.
Yeah, and I suppose, Mark, we'll just finish off. Obviously, we'll conclude today. Obviously, next week we have a lot more to talk about. Next week there's a lot more games on. But what's your thoughts? I haven't chatted to you about what is your thoughts on the new rules. I don't know if you've seen them. I was down at the provincials, and I like the idea, Mark. I like the idea. I like the theory behind the three up. Uh, Initially, I was a bit skeptical about the restriction of space, but I do like the idea. I'm not mad about them. I'm not mad about the arc. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not mad about the kick out on the arc. I think if we had just brought the three up in, I think it would have nearly been enough. But what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I like the solo. I like the give, the solo. You really can give and go.
Yeah,
The three
slow and
up. I'm
go. Yeah,
not fussed to kick out of a big jury, but even I like the 1v1 in the middle of the field, but I don't like the one man on each side.
yeah,
Sure, I think the two men have to mark on each other because already you can have a serious advantage if you're a
correct.
man flicks it down. You've an overload of
Yeah,
7v6.
yeah.
So I think they need it.
Connacht hammered the ball straight to. I can't remember. I think it might have
Yeah,
been
and they're right.
in the
They've
Smith
an over.
figures,
I think the
and
two
we're
men
gone.
must. I think the two men must be marking each other. But
Mm,
I do like. I like the kick out. I wouldn't be that fussed. Art. It's hard to know. Look, I do
mm.
think. Look, yeah, it depends what teams are involved. If you've 5 or 6 players you think can kick point for 40, 45 yards out,
Yeah.
you're loving it.
You're happy
if
enough.
you don't. But I do believe, look, the 3 up. I do think there's too many at the one go. But look, I have to say that I do like the solo. I like the solo and I like the 3 up. The sort of give and go, hang it will speed our game up. But again, and I know we're going back to this. The one person I do feel sorry for is the referee, and I can't imagine the first couple of look. Make no mistake, the first round of National League fixtures, the second round, there is going to be
It's going to be controversy.
controversial.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
And look, that's not the rest. It's just it's going to be very hard to police. But look, again, we talked about it. We touched on it earlier. County football, yes, good. I just don't know how referees going to police all this at club football.
Well, the stats in
And
the
when you
data,
watch our game, it's hard. Is there a big lot wrong with?
I know. Like the stats and the data coming back, Mark, are saying that the high speed running is through the roof. You know, even for a goalkeeper. You know, and I know chatting to Morgan at Niall after one of the matches, and he was saying that his high speed running against Cork or something last year nearly doubled. You know, and he felt that day against Cork last year in the National League he had done a lot, but he says like it near doubled that night, and it was a shorter game. It was a
But even
shorter
the
game.
running, the referee's going to have to do.
Yeah, so
It's
the conditioning levels are going to be through the roof, and it obviously. But look, listen, the proof will be in the pudding, obviously, and we'll see. We'll
I
see.
think everybody knew we needed maybe a couple of wee things tweaked. Yes,
Yeah.
but I think, and maybe the 3 up. But look, there's a lot now, and it'll be interesting. I'm glad. I've seen they've demolished the 4 points for goal. I think that would have been a
Yeah.
serious bad move.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. But listen, Mark, thanks a million for today. And look, we'll be back next week. Obviously, we'll look at the club action next week. We'll have a busy weekend of club football next week. And I think if we're watching the likes of Kula on Saturday night, and you're watching some of those games on Sunday, as you say, some of the Ulster club games as well, like we'll see that the game is at club level is actually in a very healthy state. Like it really is, because
Yeah,
it's very
club football. Like you have this club
yeah,
championship. All right, you'll always look in any sport. You will always get a bad game. It's just, but I have to say, 90% of the club games I've watched this year is a really good high standard. And I have to look. This is my favorite competition.
yeah.
This club, the interprovincial club. I just think clubs really go at it, and there's a lot of good games. You'll see throughout, and you will see a load of good club games all over the weekend.
Absolutely. Mark, thanks very much, and I'll chat to you soon.
No
Thanks.
problem, Stephen. Thank you.